Well, friends, this is Scott. I'm sitting in my suburban backyard garden in Salt Lake City, and I just was told something very disturbing the other day by my wife. She said, "You know what? I hate your backyard." so, so let me back up a little bit about why that is at this point in time. It's my noisy traffic here in Salt Lake City. But when we first bought our house, 20 something years ago, it was just grass, a few trees, and a couple bushes. And she really liked the grass look. Well, I was able to convince her to get chickens. And so we had them throughout the yard in various places. And until we finally found the spot that they've been there for about the last 10 years, which is right behind me here in the old chicken coop. But her confession was that she's ready to head out of town for a 2-month visit to South America. She hopes that I can get this backyard looking better so she doesn't hate our backyard anymore. So I gave up with the old trying to do a live shot. So I'll go back to voiceover. And here we are, and this is really the main reason why my wife doesn't like my backyard is I've done the back deeding method, and a few years ago I really supplied a lot of wood chips to this yard, and it was beautiful, and it suppressed weeds, and did everything I wanted it to do. But then I bought the hobby farm, and now I'm drug away, and I'm not spending much time at home. And she's tired of this yard and these chickens looking kind of redneck. So during our trip away, I told her that I would do my best to see what I can come up with and make this place a little bit better. Now, as you see here, the soil's still moist, but without the layers and inches of wood chips, it really doesn't help the soil very much. I have been successful in getting rid of all the major weeds. I just got all these little trees and minor weeds. So none of these are the dreaded bindweed that I'm dealing with. I have a little bit of that, but not much. But most of these weeds were just needing to be pulled out. And so it took an evening, a couple hours, and I went through here. And I was able to get this all weeded so that I'm ready for a truckload of mulch to be brought in. I don't have any tree service wood or mulch right now, so I have to go to the nursery and buy it. The stuff I'm using is not ideal for the back deeding method. It's just shredded bark. I'm using a color that's just brown this time. I usually went with the red look, it seemed like more of a forest floor look. I decided to go with some brown this time, so I headed over to the nursery. It's $59 a yard. Truck holds 2 yards plus tax. It's like $126, $127. So it's not cheap, and I've got to do many of these truckloads full, but we'll get started and see what we can get accomplished. I don't want to get ahead of myself weeding because the weeds will grow back, so I want to just kind of weed and then get over to the nursery and get some more bark and get it covered up and keep on marching back and forth as long as I'm being productive and getting everything done up here at the school garden as well as down at the hobby farm. So I've got a couple months to try to get this place looking good. The plan is that she wants to sell this home and go smaller and just to kind of enjoy her life in Salt Lake City and then enjoy the hobby farm down for all the redneck country stuff. So that's kind of the plan here. A little bit melancholy about that. Been in this yard for, this house for 20 something years and put a lot of my blood, sweat, and tears into it. And the fruit trees and things are starting to produce pretty heavily now. So it seems like that's always the case. You plant stuff and then somebody else gets to enjoy it. But here's a look at my pane. You see my dwarf peach trees are way overgrown too. So they're loaded with fruit. So I'm going to let them go until later and I'll prune them back. So I've got a little bit of an obstacle. But again, remind you that I've got to walk all the way down these steps and around the yard because I have steps and wheelbarrow won't work here. So we're not even going to try that. So I'm starting out at the far corner, almost the farthest corner of the yard from the truck, and we're going to spruce this area up. Now again, I've not done the whole yard. I'm not going to show you the entire yard in this video. It's a mess, and it needs to be weeded and just cleaned up. But as you can see, with a few hours work and a load of bark, you can make this area look a lot better. So yeah, we'll take a look here and kind of give you a preview of what happens when you put some bark down. Again, it's daylight, midday, 100 degrees. The bark is really dry, so it's hard to see the brown. I did water it down a little bit toward the end of this video so you get a little bit better look. But now here's another thing. I put this pond in, and again, I put in lots of bark, but again, Mother Nature used it up. So with back deeding, you have to add more wood chips. If you stop like I just did, You'll start out with a few weeds, and then you'll start getting more and more invasive weeds, and then they'll take over, and then you're like starting all over. So you don't want to get to this point, but I'm still okay. I can still save this backyard from the most noxious of the weeds if I get all this stuff covered up. So here's a look at just how the pond's looking as I'm adding 5-gallon buckets. And again, it took a lot of trips, but yeah, it is what it is. Did feed the fish, so you could get a look at them, and they're doing wonderfully. And they're like little torpedoes, and I think there's probably 17 in here. It seems like every time I count, I get 16 or 18. So I'll go with 17 right now. But they're doing great. The water's pretty clear. Do need to do a water change soon, and I'll use that for liquid fertilizer. But Mr. Lincoln likes it back here. Again, my yard is messy, but it's shady, and it's got lots of wildlife back here. So I don't hate my backyard. Whatever my wife thinks, I still don't hate it, but I can definitely make it look better. But it'll probably just make it look better for the next owner, which will probably be early next year. So we'll see. We'll see what happens with it. But here's a look after I put out all the 2 cubic yards, and this is how far it went. Again, I should put a little bit more in, probably a few more inches. But for right now, until I get everything covered, I'll get it weeded, covered, and then I'll decide if I want to bring more bark in and make it thicker. But I did raise some those flagstones up a little bit in the pathway to make them a little bit more obvious. But again, we need to plant lots of stuff here. I usually have vegetables all through here, but she didn't want me to plant vegetables this year. She wants me to put flowers or whatever else there. So we'll see what I end up doing. But that's as far as I got for my first effort to getting the backyard back in order. And you can see where I have to go, and got lots more to do. So anyway, well, you know, backdeeding's a great way to garden. For me, it helps a lot. I wish I had natural wood chips for this journey, but I don't. But this bark, shredded bark, looks better. It's, I don't know what they dye it with. It's supposed to be non-toxic, but now that I'm not going to grow any vegetables here anymore, I'm not so worried about it. Like I used the black dyed bark in the front yard. But anyway, thanks for watching this video, and I will give you more updates on how I'm doing on this yard. And I need to get the chickens out of here and get them down to the hobby farm. So that coop is going to disappear here in the next little while. So stay tuned on that. And if you like what you see, please hit that subscribe button. Like, share, and comment. Going to have a lot of stuff to show you. So please subscribe. Thank you.